Hey folks, happy Tuesday. Hope you're wrapping up a great summer. At FPF, we kind of live on an academic schedule. We've all been in school a long time. Our new fellows and interns start in September. So sort of like the new year for us as September begins. But it's not yet September, so hopefully you have a couple more days of summer. We wanted your attention for two key things. One, open data has been a critical, important issue for lots of municipalities and cities. All this data that the cities collect, how can we make it open and available so that others, sometimes others in the city, other agencies, or other developers, other creative groups, how can they use that data to come up with something useful? So, for instance, a transit app. If we have to wait for the city to come up with their own app, maybe they'll have one, maybe it'll be good, maybe it'll be great, maybe it won't be so good. But let's make that available where transportation is coming and going, so all kinds of really smart, creative people can come up with the kinds of apps they want that can help you have a really good ability to map where you're going. Maybe you care about crime statistics. You want to overlay it by the kind of information you need. All kinds of incredibly useful information about crime, about the environment, about violations, about pollution. Maybe you want to try to understand something interesting. Maybe you want to just know information about the area around your home. So many cities are really trying to put that data out there and have strong requirements to make available everything that they collect. Well, that's all great, but of course, possibly privacy implications if that's information that's going to reveal sensitive data about you or your home or your car. And so Seattle, one of the cities that's been very thoughtful about technology and data, Michael Miller, their CIO, very sophisticated guy with privacy background, and the mayor and the team there have been very eager to leverage technology to try to improve city services, make sure they're being delivered equitably. The community in Seattle has been very engaged, pushing back when they want to debate how technology or data is used, and the city has been very responsive. They have a mandate to make data available so that citizens have transparency, so that we can assess the city and city services. But they also have a mandate to be very sensitive to privacy. And one of the things that they've done, in addition to have a chief privacy officer to city, to do citywide privacy education, is they've decided that they want to assess their open data project to take a look at how they're handling potential privacy issues. We've partnered with them to try to create the first really detailed privacy assessment of how a city is using, making available data under their open data program. Kelsey Finch of our team and Omer today have led that project. And we currently have out for comment, because part of being open, of course, about open data is being open about how you assess open data. So we've got this project out today for public comment. It's up on our site. Our team will post a link, and we'd very much be interested in your ideas. Have we highlighted all the key issues so that we, when we take our next step and we actually assess how Seattle's doing, we're looking at the right risks, we're looking at the right benefits. So please comment, give us your thoughts and reaction. And then the next step will be, after we finish taking into account the comments we've received, is actually looking at Seattle's practices and saying, yes, you're doing all of these things well. Here's where you can take some additional steps and adopt some best practices, and here's where there are challenges and so forth. So give us your comment. Okay. Seattle open data, first of its kind, building, of course, on some really interesting work that leading scholars at the Berkman Institute at the University of Washington, Berkman Center at Harvard, the University of Washington, San Francisco has done an interesting open data framework. So we've built on a lot of the really useful work that's been done. The second thing we want to ask you to do is there's an incredible amount of privacy scholarship coming out around the world from universities, scholars, researchers. Most of you have full-time jobs. We don't have full-time jobs. I mean, we do, but our full-time job is in part staying up to date with all the important privacy scholarship, understanding it, debating it, writing some of it ourselves, highlighting what we think is important. And so every year we hold our Privacy Papers for Policymakers program, where we ask for nominations. Our FPF Advisory Board plays a big role in highlighting a lot of the interesting papers and then helping judge. We have corporate people, we have academics, we have advocates, all who go through and vote on what they believe are the papers that were published in the past year that policymakers, and we use that term broadly, we certainly mean the FTC, congressional staff, data commissioners around the world, but we also mean thought leaders like chief privacy officers, other think tankers, advocates. What are the papers that you may have missed that we really all think you should read? And, not too many, 6 or 7, that if you didn't catch, you probably want to catch. We recognize, however, that the Hill staff and a lot of others in policy world are pretty busy. You've got those busy day jobs. And so we ask the author to write us a 1-page summary. Well, some of them are 2 pages, but 1-page summary that recaps the key points. What more could you ask for? An attractive publication. We then do a great event on the Hill. Last year we did it at the Senate with sponsorship of Senator Markey and Congressman Barton, the co-chairs of the Congressional Privacy Caucus. We'll post some links to that, and we invite the authors to do a quick Q&A with some policy leaders about those key papers. So if you'd like a hard copy, we'll actually send one to you, but it's all online. However, we're now turning to the upcoming years. So if there's a paper, please email it and say, this paper, I wrote it. But certainly nominate yourselves. If you're an academic or a scholar and you wrote something that you think is relevant for policymakers, right? You're interested in the theoretical stuff as well, but the goal here is, what should a busy CPO, what should a legislator be aware of in the world of privacy scholarship? What are the important papers? So if there's one you wrote or a colleague or something that you think makes a really important point that hasn't really been appreciated, some of these papers are published in journals. They're not always widely available in the policy world, or maybe they get some attention when they're published and then, life moves on. This is our opportunity to say, we care about important scholarship. You don't have to agree with it. We often have a very broad diversity of papers, some that are more free market, others that are critical of overuse of data by government or companies. We're trying to put the ideas that are important out there and let the chips fall where they may. Anyway, we'd love your input on our open data project, and would love a quick nomination of one of these papers. And stay tuned. We'll certainly be inviting people to the event. Anyway, have a great week, and hope you all had a great summer.